to make it, because, I mean, so I guess, what are you feeling today? Are you relief? What do you?
Relief, great relief that these fellas are caught, because they threatened us and they said they would come back if they didn't get the money. And so for a year I live in fear that, every time a stranger comes or something that, they could come back. We have since put in a security system in the house, which is good. Makes me feel safer.
Well, we'll broadcast that out there. A good security system, right? Yes.
Yes, a very good one.
Right.
Very good. But I am so glad that this is over with, because it's been a heck of a year.
So take us through what happened, because, we heard from the police department, but it happened right here at your doorstep, right?
Yes, it happened at midnight, and I was up watching TV, and my son came home from playing hockey. He's on a men's league, and he came home at midnight and came into the garage. And when he was taking his gear out of the car and putting it away, two fellas came running down the driveway with guns and told him to get on the floor. I was in the house watching TV, and I waited for my son to come in. And when he didn't come in, it was taking too long, I went out in the garage to see what was going on. And that's when they pointed the gun at me, told me to come down and kneel next to my son. And then they just asked if we had a security system, if we had any animals, and I said no. Then they took us in the house, and then they asked for our phones. They took our phones, and they put me in the bedroom, told me to stay on the bed, and if I did what I was told, nothing would happen. So I did that. I was so scared. I, never had anything like this ever happen to me in all my years, so I was very frightened, and I did exactly what they said. And then I just heard them questioning my son out in the other room. They kept my bedroom door open. And about an hour or so after they were there, they came in and said they were going to take my son for a ride. So I thought they were going to take him to an ATM. That's what I was figuring, because it was late at night. And so they said they didn't want to take me with them, so they were going to strap my legs to the bed, and they tied my legs with duct tape to the bottom of the bed. But they did bring me food. He brought me cookies that I had on my counter, and got juice out of my refrigerator and brought me, and just told me to stay there, and they wouldn't be gone long. So while they were gone, they took my son in the car. I didn't try to get away because I was afraid they would come back, and if they found that I was trying to get loose, that they'd hurt me, and I didn't want to be hurt, and I didn't want my son to be hurt.
So here they are holding guns to you, yet giving you cookies.
Yes, yes, it was so bizarre. That's it. They were actually nice to me. He asked me what medications I took, and I said I had, different ones that I take at night. Well, did you take them tonight? And I said no, so he went and got them for me. Got my medicine and gave me a drink to take my pills. It was really, criminals don't do that, and I guess that's why the police were so baffled, because they said this is not typical. But he was actually, even though they were, had guns, and the one fella sat outside my bedroom door all night with my door open, watching that I wasn't going to get out away from the bed and things. And then during the night, I heard them talk to my son about explosives, that they had explosives and they were going to strap them on him. And I heard the duct tape being unwrapped, and I figured they're wrapping it around him. And so I was so frightened. I did a lot of praying. I did a lot of praying that, once I heard of explosives, I was afraid. I kept thinking, is my son going to feel it if it explodes on him? It was so terrifying. And we stayed all night like that until the morning. They made plans with my son to go, he was to go to work and do the robbery. And they left me, and they told me just to stay in bed, that my son would, if all went well, my son would be back at 10:30 in the morning to let me free. But once they left at 8:15 in the morning, I hollered out because I didn't hear any noise, and I knew that they were gone. So I worked to get myself free from the tape on my feet.
Now, at this point, there was a report of a bomb underneath your bed?
Yes, and I didn't know that. They never put it there while I was there, or didn't put anything under my bed while I was in the bed, so I never knew that they had said that. They told my son that.
But there was no bomb under
There
your
was
bed.
no bomb. They never put anything under my bed, and I never knew that they told him that. I never heard that. But they did that to frighten him so that he would do what they said. They told him there was a bomb under my bed and that they rigged some explosives by the door.
How's your son doing tonight?
Good, very good, very relieved, because through all this, you know, they've thought he was in on it, you know. It was too bizarre to be a true criminal case, so he's been under suspicion, and I'm just so happy that he's free and clear now.
And these guys have admitted to doing this multiple times
Yes,
around the
they've
country.
done- yes, and I'm so glad that nobody else got hurt, and we didn't get hurt. I'm so relieved these criminals were good, you know, and didn't hurt us, because it could have been so much worse.